Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari
Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari
Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivara Dhari
Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari
Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivara Dhari
Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari
Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Randana
Yashodanandana Braja Jana Randana
Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Randana
Yashodanandana Braja Jana Randana
Yamuna Tira Vanachari
Tira Vanachari
Yamuna Tira Vanachari
Tira Vanachari
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivara Dhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivara Dhari Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Randana Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Randana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna Krishna,
Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama, Rama
Rama Rama,
Rama.
Hare Hare.
Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe.
Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe.
Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe.
Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe.
Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Prabhupada
Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada.
Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Gaur Premanande. Jai Vishapad Paramahamsa Pri Vrajagacharya Stotra Satta Sri Srimad His Divine Grace. Srila Bhai Charan Naravind Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki Skandiviti Founder Acharyas Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada ki Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki Samaveta Bhakti Vrinda ki Harinam Sankirtan ki Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki Dainitai Gaur Premanande. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and to Sri Gauranga, all glories to Sri Prabhupada ki. Om Agyanatimirandasya Gyanandhana Salakaya Taksuranmilitam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Jena Bhuttale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Juta Parakamalam Sri Gurun Vaisnavam Syam Sri Rupam Sahagajatam Sahagana Raghunatan Vitam Tvam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savarutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sivisakanditam Scha Hare Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopisa Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kancana Gourangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusuti Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vansakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Sarasatim Vyasam Tato Dhagamadhirayat. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is a very means of conquest, let us first offer our respectful obeisances unto Narayana, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, unto Nara, Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta praya sabadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati tamasloke bhaktir bhavati naistiki. By regularly hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam and by rendering a service unto the pure devotee, all that is troublesome within the heart becomes destroyed or practically to nil, and loving devotional service unto the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, it becomes established as an irrevocable fact. Idam Bhagavatam Nama Puranam Brahmasamitam Uttama Charitam Chakara Bhagavan Rishi Nishreyasaya Lokasya Dhanyam Swasyayanam Mahat. This Srimad Bhagavatam, known as the Grantaraj, the king of all Vedic literatures, is the literary incarnation of God. It is compiled by the incarnation of God, Srila Vyasadeva. It is meant for the ultimate good of all people. It is all successful, all blissful, and all perfect. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Sarabhyai Namaha Om Sarabhyai Namaha Om Sarabhyai Namaha Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim yatkripa tamaham bande Sri Gurum Dinataranam Yatkripa tamaham bande Sri Gurum Dinataranam. Hare Krishna. Welcome everyone to our morning Bhagavatam discourse. We are beginning a brand new canto, second canto this morning. And This is the scene, Shukadeva Goswami. We are on the banks of the Ganges, surrounded by sages. Chapter number 1 is entitled The First Step in God Realization. And first step in God realization, we'll be covering 39, yes, this is 39 verses. Then chapter 2, the Lord in the heart, 37. Chapter 3, pure devotional service, the change of heart. So, the first verse, actually, before the first verse, there's invocation, which we recite every day. And Srila Prabhupada has given a purport to this invocation, which we will be reading. So the invocation is one line. Everyone can repeat. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 You need special glasses. Did you write invocation or verse 1? Verse 1. Okay. Well, it's okay. Let's see what happens. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. Yes. Holding books is much better than holding box. Yes. Translation. O my Lord, the all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Kindly repeat after me. O my Lord,
O my Lord,
the all-pervading personality of Godhead,
the all-pervading personality of Godhead,
I offer my respectful obeisances unto you.
I offer my respectful obeisances unto you.
Purport. Vasudevaya means to Krishna, the son of Vasudeva. Since by chanting the name of Krishna, Vasudeva, one can achieve all the good results of charity, austerity, and penances. It is to be understood that by the chanting of this mantra, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, the author or the speaker or anyone of the readers of Srimad Bhagavatam is offering a respectful obeisances unto the Supreme Lord Krishna, the reservoir of all pleasure. In the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, the principles of creation are described, and thus the first canto may be called creation. Similarly, in the second canto, the post-creation cosmic manifestation is described. The different planetary systems are described in the second canto as different parts of the universal body of the Lord. For this reason, the second canto may be called the cosmic manifestation. There are 10 chapters in the second canto. And in these 10 chapters, the purpose of Srimad Bhagavatam and the different symptoms of this purpose are narrated. The first chapter describes the glories of chanting, and it hints at the process by which the neophyte devotees may perform meditation on the universal form of the Lord. In the first verse, Shukadeva Goswami replies to the questions of Maharaj Parikshit, who asks him about one's duties at the point of death. Maharaj Parikshit was glad to receive Shukadeva Goswami, and he was proud of being a descendant of Arjuna, the intimate friend of Krishna. Personally, he was very humble and meek, but he expressed his gladness that Lord Krishna was very kind to his grandfathers, the sons of Pandu, especially his own grandfather, Arjuna. And because Lord Krishna was always pleased with Maharaj Parikshit's family, at the verge of Maharaj Parikshit's death, Shukadeva Goswami was sent to help him in the process of self-realization. Maharaj Parikshit was a devotee of Lord Krishna from his childhood, so he had natural affection for Krishna. Shukadeva Goswami could understand his devotion. Therefore, he welcomed the questions about the king's duty, because the king hinted that worship of Lord Krishna is the ultimate function of every living entity. Shukadeva Goswami welcomed the suggestion and said, quote, "Because you have raised questions about Krishna, your question is most glorious," end of quote. The translation of the first verse is as follows. So we will go to the verse. I don't know if anyone can see that verse. I can't. But fortunately, I have my book here. We have a different chalk, right? Different chalk. I call it.
It's not working, I think.
Right. Needs a new life.
As in the material world, everything.
Yes. Temporary and
As
fading.
birth and death.
Fading. So those who have the book, those who are fortunate to have a book, can follow text number 1. Sri Shuka Uvacha Varyam Isha Te Prashna Krito Loka Hitam Nripa Atmavit Samata Pumsam Srota Vyadishu Yaparaha Sri Shuka Uvacha Varyam Eshate Prashna Krito loka hitam nripa. Atmavit samata pumsam. Srota vyadi suyapraha. Sri Sukha Uvacha. Varyam Eshate Prashna. Krito Loka Hitam Nripa. Atmavit Samata Pumsam. Srota Vyadi Suyapraha. Sri Sukha Uvacha. Varyameshate Prashna. Krito Loka Hitam Nripa. Sri Sukha Uvacha. Varyameshate Prashna. Krito Loka Hitam Nripa. Atmavit Samata Pumsam. Sri Sukha Uvacha.
Variyaneshate prashnah.
Varyameshate Prashna. Krito Loka Hitam Nripa.
Atmavitsamata pumsam.
Atmavit Samata Pumsam.
Shrotavyadishu yah paraha.
Srota Yaparaha.
Sri Sukha Uvacha.
Sri Sukha Uvacha.
Varyam Isate Prashna.
Varyameshate Prashna.
Krito Loka Hitam Nirna.
Krito Loka Hitam Nripa.
Atmavit Samata Pumsam.
Atmavit Samata Pumsam.
Shrita Vyadisuya Paraha.
Srota Vyadishu Yaparaha.
Shri Shuka Uvacha.
Sri Sukha Uvacha.
Variyan Ishate Parashna.
Varyameshate Prashna.
Krito Loka Itamripa. Atmavit Samata Pumsam.
Atmavit Samata Pumsam.
Shruta Vyadishu Yaparaha.
Srota Vyadishu Yaparaha. Sri Sukha Uvacha. Sri Shukadeva Goswami said, Varyam, glorious, Eshaha, this, te, your, prashnaha, question, kritaha, made by you, lokahitam, beneficial for all men, Nripa, O King, Atmavit, transcendentalist, Samataha, approved, Pumsam, of all men, Srotavya Adishu, in all kinds of hearing, Yaha, what is, Paraha, the Supreme. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. Sri Shukadeva Goswami said, my dear king, your question is glorious because it is very beneficial to all kinds of people. The answer to this question is the prime subject matter for hearing, and it is approved by all transcendentalists. Kindly repeat after me. Sri Shukadeva Goswami said, my dear king, your question is glorious because it is very beneficial to all kinds of people. The answer to this question is the prime subject matter for hearing, and it is approved by all transcendentalists. Report. Even the very question is so nice that it is the best subject matter for hearing. Simply by such questioning and hearing, one can achieve the highest perfectional stage of life. Because Lord Krishna is the original Supreme Person, any question about Him is original and perfect. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said that the highest perfection of life is to achieve the transcendental loving service of Krishna, because questions and answers about Krishna elevate one to that transcendental position. The questions of Maharaj Parikshit about Krishna philosophy are greatly glorified. Maharaj Parikshit wanted to absorb his mind completely in Krishna, and such absorption can be effected simply by hearing about the uncommon activities of Krishna. For instance, in the Bhagavad Gita, it is stated that simply by understanding the transcendental nature of Lord Krishna's appearance, disappearance, and activities, one can immediately return home back to Godhead and never come back to this miserable condition of material existence. It is very auspicious, therefore, to hear always about Krishna. So Maharaj Parikshit requested Shukadeva Goswami to narrate the activities of Krishna so that he could engage his mind in Krishna. The activities of Krishna are non-different from Krishna himself. As long as one is engaged in hearing such transcendental activities of Krishna, he remains aloof from the conditional life of material existence. The topics of Krishna are so auspicious that they purify the speaker, the hearer, and the inquirer. They are compared to the Ganges waters, which flow from the toe of Lord Krishna. Wherever the Ganges waters go, they purify the land and the person who bathes in them. Similarly, Krishna Katha, or the topics of Krishna, are so pure that wherever they are spoken, the place, the hearer, the inquirer, the speaker, and all concerned become purified. Translation again. Sri Shukadeva Goswami said, "My dear king, your question is glorious because it is very beneficial to all kinds of people. The answer to this question is a prime subject matter for hearing, and it is approved by all transcendentalists." Perfect timing. Once again, welcome to Sridham Prabhu and Shivananda Prabhu, all the way from Hyderabad. So we are just hearing this first verse of the first chapter of the second canto, entitled The First Step in God Realization. Srila Shukadeva Goswami is beginning to reply to the different questions asked by Parikshit Maharaj in the last chapter of the first canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. The main question, or the first question, what what should people do? What is most beneficial to hear? Especially what is most beneficial to hear for one who is about to leave one's body. So here Shukadeva Goswami is immediately uh, thanking Parikshit Maharaj for asking such pertinent question. As mentioned and elaborated upon in the purport by Srila Prabhupada, any question in relation to Krishna is glorious. And the one who's asking the question, the one who is responding and speaking on the question, and those who happen to be present, hearing, and the whole atmosphere where that is taking place, uh, becomes immediately purified. I remember when someone takes up what is called research in college or university. Generally, in university, they are given a supervisor to help do the particular research, and the first time, so I was registered and accepted to do some research at one particular university. And the first time I met my supervisor, he asked a very wonderful question. I will always remember. The question he's asked was, um, he knew about ISKCON and Hare Krishna. He knew something. And so he asked, according to your teachings, he's a professor, right? He's PhD already and whatnot. So according to your teachings, what is your understanding of dharma? Couldn't ask a better question. What is your understanding of dharma? Because the whole research was connected with Sri Varnashrama Dharma. So, Prabhupada in various places mentions how actually every day it's quite common. Everyone is asking so many different kinds of questions in life. People, when they meet, they inquire. But rarely do people actually inquire about subject matters which are of substance, which are actually very essential and vital, and which will actually become uh, enlivening to both the person asking the question and the one who actually will be uh, replying to that question. And we will see, I believe it's in one of these chapters, in this whole exchange, you know, I mean, it goes on for 12 cantos, this whole exchange between Shukadeva Goswami and Parikshit Maharaj. At one point, actually, Parikshit Maharaj will be asking, we should keep in mind, he knows he's going to die in 7 days. So at one point, he'll be asking a question, can you kindly describe to me the workings of this cosmic manifestation? Huh? Well, those are details. I think it may be a different, yeah, yeah. And in that purport, Srila Prabhupada mentions, here's someone who is very advanced, you know, Parikshit Maharaj, the devotee from birth. Hey, Hare Krishna. Okay. And here he is asking about something seemingly mundane, you know, material. Then Prabhupada explains that actually for someone who is of the caliber of Parikshit Maharaj, he's asking about something related to the creation because he has that very basic understanding that the more we understand about the workings of the creation, then the more we can appreciate the creator of that creation, isn't it? Yeah. So it means that actually so many subject matters can be discussed in relation with Krishna. And not only, in other words, not only subject matters in relation, that's the whole explanation, actually, the first 9 cantos of the Bhagavatam, the direct subject matters in terms of Krishna's appearance and activities, Janma Karma Samay Divyam, hearing about those activities come actually only in the 10th canto of the Bhagavatam. There are references here and there, but here it mentions in the very beginning of the invocation here also how the first canto is dealing with the there are 2 creations, 2 levels of creation. The first and secondary creation. So the Bhagavatam is that transcendental literature, which is not only dealing with transcendental subject matters, but also dealing with seemingly mundane or material subject matters, creation, material creation. We'll see descriptions of Lord Brahma, who is the first creator or the first created living entity. And it means that actually the subject matters that are in the Vedic literatures and that are very nicely summarized in the pages of the Bhagavatam, whether it is dealing with the 2 primary levels, the 2, what is called 2 types of vidyas, knowledge. Veda means knowledge, and Veda is divided into Paravidya and Aparavidya, and both are subject matters that are meant to actually help one advance in self-realization. So this is nicely being explained here by Srila Prabhupada how the comparison actually is given to the Ganges water. So wherever the Ganges flows, um, everything connected with the Ganges becomes purified. And similarly, topics in relation to Krishna specifically, which is called, at the end, Prabhupada is mentioning Krishna Katha. Uh, and so many verses are there. Of course, the whole Bhagavatam is connected with Krishna. When we hear such topics, Srinvatam Swakatha Krishna Punya Sravana Kirtana Vidyantasto Yabhadrani Vidunuti Saritsatam. All of the abhadras or unwanted uh, things within the heart become purified. So this is setting the stage. Prabhupada also referring to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, whose main teaching, of course, is the whole Bhagavatam is bringing us to what is meant to be the main goal and the purpose of life, ultimately to engage nicely in the devotional service of the Lord, and to always keep in mind what is the primary goal and purpose of life, to prepare ourselves in so many different ways for going back home, back to Godhead, which is what Parikshit Maharaj is on the verge of doing right now. So these are the um, two exalted personalities here. Shukadeva Goswami, who is the perfect speaker of the Bhagavatam, and Parikshit Maharaj, who is the perfect uh, recipient of the Bhagavatam, and who is uh, very eager to hear from Shukadeva Goswami. Yeah.
Maharaj, it takes quite natural that both Sukadev Goswami and Parikshit Maharaj are focusing on the understanding of what should one do before the death, to go home, back to Godhead. But many times I heard classes or I met with devotees who are not focusing on that question, but they are focusing on different interests. So what happens when someone listening Bhagavatam class with not this focus or giving Bhagavatam explanation, but not focusing on that goal, but explains different topics more nicely and elaborately, but not connecting to that principle.
Mm, um, the idea is that whatever topics, there's so many topics, just like we were mentioning about, let's say, the cosmic manifestation or the creation. Uh, there's so many topics that are discussed before um, hearing directly about, let's say, Krishna's pastimes. Um, mm, as long as those topics are in relation to Krishna, uh, I mean, this specific question here or topic is in relation to preparing oneself to leave this body. Uh, so any topic which we hear about in the Bhagavatam that may not be directly speaking on that subject matter uh, is meant to help us uh, ultimately connect with Krishna, isn't it? So when we hear descriptions of the creation, for example, material creation, secondary creation, um, we uh, the Bhagavatam obviously makes that connection with Krishna, and therefore, when we hear such a description, um, which is very uh, very detailed and very beyond our comprehension, you know, the fifth canto of the Bhagavatam uh, gives very elaborate description um, of the universe, um, and how this universe is created, etc., which is beyond our understanding. So that very description, and there's so many other descriptions, uh, they are all in relation to Krishna. So they're meant to increase our appreciation of ultimately of Krishna. Uh, whether we are hearing about directly Krishna or about Krishna's devotees who are also engaged in all kinds of activities for ultimately the glorification of Krishna, the more we uh, increase our appreciation of Krishna, we're preparing ourselves ultimately for going back home, back to Godhead. Uh, so it's not that all the time we have to speak about or remember um, that we are preparing ourselves to leave this body. Um, the more our consciousness is uh, in appreciation of Krishna and all of his activities. His activities not only in the spiritual world, but his activities in the material world, and the very arrangement, you know, Krishna's um, activities. I mean, that verse Prabhupada is quoting here, Janma Karma Same Divyam. So Krishna's activities are not only in the spiritual world. Uh, Krishna's activities in the material world are not only in Vrindavan or Mathura and Dwarka, but Krishna's activities are like all pervading and constantly ongoing. I mean, therefore, Prabhupada explains how as we become purified in consciousness, we see Krishna's activities. We see the presence of Krishna actually all the time. And that's why when that question was asked to Prabhupada, when did you become Krishna conscious? Or I don't remember a time I've not, I've ever forgotten Krishna. That is the mentality of the advanced devotee or the pure devotee. Uh, and gradually, as we progress in Krishna consciousness, we develop this kind of understanding and consciousness that even material, so-called material energy, material activities, uh, we see behind all of those activities the actual presence of Krishna. Um, in one lecture, Prabhupada explains how a pure devotee he only sees Krishna, even though he's interacting with the material world, with the material energy. He sees only the workings of Krishna. Uh, so subject matters that are described in classes that may not directly, speak about, well, getting ready to leave our body, the more we see and appreciate the presence of Krishna, that Krishna is behind. Uh, I mean, he's present in every single atom, and he's uh, he's behind all and every activity. Then that means that we we develop a more purified consciousness, and by that purified consciousness, we are preparing ourselves, isn't it, to um, to leave this body whenever that moment may be. Yeah.
Maharaj, in that regard, Srila Prabhupada in purport to Canto 1, Chapter 16, verse 5, Srila Prabhupada is saying there are many topics in Bhagavatam about sociology, politics, economics, cultural affairs, etc. For all of them are in relationship with Krishna, and therefore all of them are worth hearing. Krishna is a purifying ingredient in all matters, regardless of what they are. In mundane world, everything is impure due to its being a product of three mundane qualities. The purifying agent, however, is Krishna.
Yes. Yes.
Again, the number.
116.5.
Yes. Yeah, because very often, Srila Prabhupada in many other purports will just reject different topics because they're not connected with Krishna. But everything, as you have nicely quoted, everything, including politics, isn't it? Why is it that one of the subject matters, one of the four vidyas, Chatur Vidya, the Dandaniti, science of politics? So, I mean, at first hand, some devotees will say, well, why do we have to study politics? Well, if you're going to be responsible for a whole kingdom, if you're going to be a responsible leader, if you're going to be, as Bhagavatam uh, explains, the best type of leadership is Raja Rishi, not only materially qualified as a leader, but also a real leader has to be qualified spiritually. He has to be simultaneously a Raja and a Rishi. Um, so, yes.
Yes, sir. So it seems that in the Bhagavatam, before speaking about Krishna's pastimes, there are many discussions about material, etc., about creation.
Yes.
So it seems that to understand the material creation, the spiritual creation and material creation is a preliminary to understand
Yes.
the pastimes of Krishna.
Actually, one of our very intellectual, scientific devotee, Rasaraj, Rasaraj Prabhu, who was uh, very much active, well, still is, in Bhaktivedanta Institute. He was giving a lecture in Mumbai, quite maybe some years back, mentioning this very point that, um, and I suppose those who are more intellectual or more like scientific minded, um, although they don't always come to that conclusion. But it's like Einstein. Prabhupada quotes Albert Einstein that he was able to appreciate, that there's something, there has to be something beyond or behind this whole material creation. Um, so, yes, it is, that's exactly what is presented, or how the Bhagavatam is actually presented. That before Prabhupada mentions, if we nicely, properly study, uh, in methodically the whole Bhagavatam from the first canto, then by the time we uh, end, finish reading the ninth canto, we will be sufficiently purified to actually appreciate and understand the descriptions of the 10th canto, which are directly in terms of Krishna's very confidential, intimate, personal pastimes that are described in specific verses of the Bhagavatam. Yeah.
Well, it's very interesting you brought that point up about scientists appreciating after doing the research that there must be a creator.
Yes.
So just today, this morning, The Atlantic, which is a very reputed news journal in the West,
Okay.
there was an article which just talks about this particular aspect. And they did a survey, and it seems a majority of really top scientists and researchers, they believe that there's a creator. And then the article talks about that actually most of the scientific concepts, they are all theoretical concepts.
Right.
You cannot, by direct perception, you cannot prove it. Like the atom, electron, quarks, there is a lot of things, and it nicely describes why, with that framework, that this scientists, they understand that just because you cannot see
Right.
doesn't mean that it exists. And it concludes with a very nice punchline. In the end, it says, the author is saying that I remember my father, while she was growing up, that my father used to say, just because you cannot find Pablo Picasso in his paintings doesn't mean he didn't exist.
Right.
Similarly, if you cannot directly see God in his creation, doesn't mean God does not exist.
Correct. Yes. Yes. Yes.
Very,
Well, there has been also for quite some time one approach or one philosophy with it, creation by design, which means that there's a whole. Prabhupada would make that point. Intelligence means there's a person. For intelligence, the whole creation is very minutely and very scientifically arranged. So it means there's some intelligence. That means there has to be a person. Some progress is there. Yeah. Right.
But it seems, Maharaj, that if we don't understand the origin of life,
If we don't understand,
the origin of life, life comes from life,
okay.
this means we cannot really go to Krishna consciousness.
Yes.
It seems otherwise it's like a feeling, a sentiment. But what I observe myself in ISKCON, many devotees are not very convinced about Krishna.
I'm not convinced.
Are not
Krishna.
Convinced about Krishna.
In his
Well, Prabhupada asked that
What they are doing
question.
there.
Prabhupada asked that very question at one point to some of his disciples. Are you convinced that that Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead? Of course, yeah. I mean, we have some theoretical kind of understanding or acceptance, but it's like the prayer of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. If I actually really believed or chanted purely, then I would not be able to remain in this body.
Saying that it's about anyway, it comes to the level of faith, because whatever scientifically reading, like why Srila Prabhupada asked, why did you accepted that Krishna is God? So then different devotees said different. Why did you say that you accepted? And one devotee said, because I believe in my heart that what you are saying is true.
He actually mentions because I feel.
I feel, yeah,
yeah.
I feel,
feel.
yes.
Yeah.
Because
And
I
he
feel
accepted it.
that
That's true.
Yeah,
what you are saying.
yeah.
So it's about basically faith which cannot be actually explained and proven.
Well, it touches on the gyan, isn't it?
Again.
Ultimately, it's not just gyan, knowledge, theoretical knowledge. Generally, knowledge is theoretical, but one has to. It's a question of realization.